For 10,000 years, the future was a dark room. If your crops failed, it was the gods. If your ship sank, it was fate. Humanity had no tools to see what was coming. We felt like passengers in the universe. And then a handful of gamblers, merchants, and mathematicians staged a coup. They decided that the future was not a matter of divine will, but a matter of numbers. I want to talk about the most dangerous idea in human history. The Greeks were arguably the smartest civilization that gave us geometry, philosophy, democracy. They had every tool they needed to invent probability, but they didn't. Because the Greeks used alphabets as numbers, alpha for 1, beta for 2. Try multiplying two large numbers using letters. It's nearly impossible. And without efficient calculation, statistics cannot exist. But the deeper problem was philosophical. The Greeks believed the future belonged to the gods. When they needed answers, they didn't calculate. They went to the oracle at Delphi. That was their forecasting model. And then there was zero. To the Greeks, nothingness couldn't be a number, it was a philosophical void. Without zero, there is no place value system. Without place value, there is no modern arithmetic. The smartest people on earth were risk blind, not because they lacked intelligence, but because they lacked one digit, the number that was in use and function within the Hindu Arabic ecosystem, and one man was about to bring it with him to Europe. In 1202, a young Italian merchant, Fibonacci, returned from North Africa carrying the Hindu Arabic number system that we still use today: 1, 2, 3, and the 0. Europe rejected them. In 1299, the city of Florence banned Arabic numerals from official banking records. The fear was fraud. A 0 could be forged into a 6 or a 9 with a single stroke. But merchants knew better. They kept two sets of books: Roman numerals for the authorities, Arabic numerals for real calculations. This evolved into double entry bookkeeping, a system of balancing debits and credits. Merchants created a concrete model of reality, and trade exploded. Bookkeeping became forecasting, and forecasting became risk. Now come with me to 1654. A professional gambler, Chevalier de Marais, desperate for a win, is losing money on a dice game. He writes to Blaise Pascal, a genius mathematician. Pascal brings in Pierre de Fermat, a lawyer. They tackle a problem that defeated every thinker before them. If a game is interrupted, how do you fairly divide the money based on who is more likely to win? Pascal and Fermat said, calculate every possible future outcome, divide based on probability. They moved the focus from what had happened to what might happen, and for the first time in human history, the future had a number attached to it. This math traveled to the docks and a particular coffee house called Lloyd's. Ship captains and merchants gathered there to share intelligence. Which routes were safe? Which ships had sunk? Which cargoes arrived? Brokers would pitch risk to wealthy gamblers. When someone agreed to cover a potential loss, they wrote their name under the contract. They became known as the underwriters. Lloyd's made global trade possible. No single merchant had to be destroyed by a single shipwreck. Risk could be shared, priced, and transferred. Without this, the British Empire and the Dutch East India Company, the entire structure of modern commerce, none of it happens. But here's where the story turns. In the 1800s, mathematicians discovered the bell curve, the idea that random events cluster around a predictable average. We mapped uncertainty itself. We thought we had tamed the world. We built massive financial systems on the assumption that the future would look like the past. We forgot the brutal truth that the French mathematician Poincaré gave us. Chance is only the measure of our ignorance. And this idea was brought to light by my favorite psychologists, Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman, with the prospect theory, proving that humans are systematically irrational. They identified a trait called loss aversion. We experience the pain of losing the dollar twice as intensely than the joy of gaining one. Our emotions are the drivers of our minds, with objectivity a reluctant passenger. In 2008, the objective models broke further. The bell curve didn't account for the mortgage crisis. No formula predicted the cascade, an idea pioneered by Nassim Taleb. And such a black swan, an unlikely event, nearly destroyed the global economy. Mastering risk doesn't mean we've eliminated danger, it means we've learned how to survive it. We are the first generation of humans who don't have to pray to the oracles. We have the numbers. But the moment we stop being skeptical of our own models is the moment the gods start winning again. I'm Ronnie, and this is the untold history of how we stopped praying for luck and started calculating our own destiny. Next, I'll take you through the journey of how art and science have crossed paths throughout history. Subscribe so you don't miss it.